Okay, welcome everybody. I know all of you on here, for the most part, I think I recognize everyone's name. So all of you on here know me, but just in case anyone's watching the recording, my name is Brittany Hayes, and so I'm your ambassador Diamond Upline. And I'm just super excited to do this quick little concentrated training specifically on Instagram. It's been a while since we've done one team-wide, and I just really felt like it was time to do it. I 100% would not be an ambassador Diamond today without Instagram. And yes, you heard that right. There's 100% no way I would be without Instagram. So many of you guys, we met on Instagram. And so I could go on and on and on about just how huge Instagram is, but Instagram is just what will take your business to the next level. Facebook is most of the time more your warm market. Obviously with things like host to post and stuff like that, we can get outside of that, but Instagram is just an endless cold market. And it's an incredible place to practice strong attraction marketing. So I'm just super excited just to share with you guys just all the ins and outs of Instagram. It's something that so many people can get overwhelmed by, and they can just kind of get confused and psych themselves out, so to speak, but it's really nothing scary if you treat it just like Facebook and implement the things I'm going to teach you on the Zoom today. I promise you, like, you will be absolutely amazed at where Instagram takes your business. Okay, so a couple things. I'm going to share the screen of my iPhone. So let me go ahead and do that. And remember, if you guys have questions, please, please, please put them in the chat. Don't be shy. There's a really good chance someone else has the same question as you. Okay, via cable. See if this works. Okay, give me just a second, you guys. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm connecting it. Technology is not my strong suit, believe it or not. I may have to start this share over. Hold on. That's so weird. Okay, give me one more second, sorry. All right, share via cable. There we go, trust. Okay, sorry, I was waiting for that prompt to pop up. Okay, can you guys see that? Okay, so I'm gonna pull up my Instagram and just kind of show you guys a few basic things. Okay, so before we really jump in and get started, a few need to know things with your Instagram is you want your profile picture to be very clear of your face. It's best that your profile picture be just of you. If it's you and your baby or something, that's fine. That's definitely not the end of the world, but it is better that it's you. And definitely something that they can clearly see you. So nothing where you're like off in the distance and they literally cannot see you at all. Like you want them to be able to see you. The next thing about your Instagram at first glance is your bio should be very, 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 very clearly you. Like as in like what you stand for, who you are, what you believe, etc. And it should say nothing about It Works. So this is where I feel like a lot of people kind of get confused. You do not want anything in this bio to say It Works distributor or anything like that. Because again, you want people to be drawn to you, who you are as a person, and you want them to see It Works through your post. And so if you've immediately told them that's who you are in the bio, it's just very counterproductive to the way we market ourselves. So nothing about It Works in your bio. You don't want anything about It Works in your name. So see how mine says Brittany Hayes? I would never want it to say Brittany Hayes It Works or Brittany Hayes It Works distributor or anything like that. Because again, people buy you before they ever buy the business, before they ever buy the products. And so you want them to perceive you as a normal, ordinary person. You don't want immediately them to kind of put a wall up, put a boundary up and think you're just trying to sell them something. You just want them to be drawn to you. So for me, I have 29 years young, Jesus lover, wife, mama times 5. Dallas to South Florida. This is something that I choose to put because I grow my network a lot with people from Dallas and people from Florida. And so I want them to clearly see that I'm from where they are or that I live where they are. And then some people will just see that and be curious, like, how did she relocate from Dallas to South Florida? So there's multiple reasons I have that. That's not something you have to have. Living my dream life, showing women how to reject the status quo. So your last line right here, where I have showing women how to reject the status quo, should say something about what you're passionate about, what you stand for. And so, for example, like I know one of our ambassador uplines, she at one point, I think she changed it recently to something else, but at one point she had in that line, millionaire mama, mentor to women, or something like that. Some people will put something like living a life without limits. I'm trying to think of some other examples, but just get your wheels turning. It can be anything, just short, sweet, and inspiring. You just want that to really be, that should kind of show them, without saying you're a networks distributor, that should show them a little bit about what you do, if that makes sense. It should make them curious, like who is this person? What do they have to offer? And then your website right here, what I had for the longest time until I actually had a website was just my Facebook. And so that's what I always recommend people to put is their Facebook. So back when it was my Facebook, it just said facebook.com/BrittanyJ, because that's the link to my Facebook. And so that's perfect because if someone is really nosy and they're snooping and they're like, who is this? They can click your Facebook and then they can connect with you on Facebook too, see your live videos, whatever. So I just recently, once I had a website created, I have this now, but before that, it was just my Facebook. And all my website is, if anyone's curious, is just, it's just kind of further telling my story. So it's not anything you have to have. It's just something I chose to kind of create, but it just has more of my story, some information about our team and stuff. But it's basically just, it just furthers their interest in me. But it's not anything that I had my entire time building my business. I've only had it for a couple months. So don't think that that's something you have to be successful, because I literally created this the month I went ambassador. Okay, and then the next thing that you want to make sure you have is you want to make sure you have your highlights. And so I'm going to show you guys just like a little bit of my highlights. So freedom, anytime I've ever done an opportunity business story, I have saved those to this highlight. And so I'm just going to play through one of them. I'm not going to play through all because, as you can see, I've got a lot. But I want you guys to see the first one just to know like kind of what you want to put in this highlight. And it doesn't have to say freedom. It can say like who I am, what I do, you know, what I stand for. It can say anything that's just enticing them to click on it. Or I know some people will just put income, and that gets a lot of attention too. So this is wrapping up, and you're going to see the poll at the end. And most of you have seen in Fire Tribe where I put one of these before. And so you've seen the purpose of this, like why I did this. These are good to put in your story ever so often to get new potentials. I'm not going to talk about that a lot today because that's on the signing distributor Zoom that we just did a couple days ago. But I just want you guys to see like what is in the highlight. Just 1 second. I wonder if it's now playing into the second one. I feel like I was talking and missed when this first one ended. Oh well. Okay, so coming up right now, here we go. You're going to see a poll pop up. Okay, so you can see this, and then people vote on the poll, and then you can see the voters on the poll. And what's crazy is a lot of these people are on the team today. So these are super huge and super effective things to do because they get more people interested in the business that maybe aren't seeing your post. So whenever you make a really good one of those and you put in your story, saving it to a highlight is huge. My loves is just a family highlight. It just has like a lot of different stuff about my kids and stuff. If someone was just trying to get to know me, they could click there and see a lot about my family. Southwest Florida, this just has a lot of pictures of my house, you know, around my neighborhood, the beach right where I live, stuff like that. So this can be something, you could make a highlight showing anything about like where you live, anything that's personal to you. And then beauty, this is literally just a lash tutorial I did. And that's not anything, again, that you have to do. This was the last highlight I made. I made this probably like 3 months after I had the others. And it's just because at that point in time, I didn't have extensions on my lashes. I was wearing like strip lashes, and I had a lot of people messaging me, and so I thought, that's a good little unique thing I can put in there. So maybe some of you have something else you're really, maybe you cook, maybe there's a certain recipe you're always making that people are asking you about, or maybe you live on a farm and you have animals. Like this could be anything that you just wanted to put a little bit extra, just something that's going to add value, something people are going to think is neat and creative. That is just like an extra idea for a highlight. But that's all I have, is just 4. Some people have like 10. You can have as many as you want, but the main thing is just have a couple. Don't get off this Zoom and go try to make 20. Just have a couple to start, and you can always grow as time goes on. I'm sure in a couple months from now, I'll have a couple more, but I'm not stressing about it because I just want the basics to look good. I want when someone looks at my Instagram, the basic things to be in place. Okay, the next thing you want to make sure when people look at your Instagram is you want to make sure that the number of followers you have is bigger than the amount of people that you have following you. So if you have like 1,000 followers, but you're following 5,000, that's kind of a problem, because when you're following people, it doesn't entice a lot of people to follow you back. And so if that's the case right now, don't stress, just go unfollow some people before you follow more. Just get that number down. And you can do that by downloading the Followers app. And I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. This is the Followers app. And basically see how it says are not following you back. So I have 749 people that are not following me back. I could click that and unfollow those 749. You guys see what I'm saying? So it's a super simple thing to do with that app. And if that is the case and you're following like 1,000 and then you have 1,000 followers and you're following 5,000, you cannot unfollow all 5,000 of those right now. So don't even try. Instagram will only let you unfollow like 1 to 200 at a time. So don't go too fast. Just pace yourself. What I would start doing is just unfollowing like 100 every couple hours, and just slowly get that down over the next week before you follow anymore. Just get it all down. And then once you've gotten it down, then you can resume your normal following. And then a good practice is just every single like Sunday, for example, you can go to the Followers app and you can just unfollow everyone that hasn't followed you back. But what I would recommend doing is once these numbers are even, following 200 people every morning and 200 people every evening. If you really want to get your Instagram up fast, if you really want to get that growth really fast, do that every evening, every morning, and then every Sunday, just unfollow everyone that didn't follow you back. And of course, you're not going to be able to do it all in one setting like we just talked about. So you'll pace yourself through Sunday. Sunday morning, you'll wake up, you'll unfollow, 100 or so. You'll do 100 more after church, 100 more around lunchtime, 100 more when your kids are napping, 100 more that evening, 100 more before bed. And then boom, you should have unfollowed them all. Hopefully that makes sense. If anyone has questions, you can let me know. But anyways, so now we're going to kind of go. So we talked about first glance. You want to make sure, first things first, your Instagram at first glance looks really, really appealing. Now we're going to kind of go into pictures, and then we're going to come back to growth, and I'm going to explain very, very clearly like how to grow your Instagram. So don't worry, we're coming to that. But first things first, I want to show you guys just kind of what my Instagram looks like and give you guys some practical ideas. My Instagram did not look like this when I started. It's taken me a long time coming to get it to a place where I really like it. So I want to say, don't strive for instant perfection with your Instagram. Strive for progress. Just strive to get a little bit better at your pictures, a little bit better each and every day at what you're posting. So one thing I want you to notice for my Instagram, I'm going to start here and I'm going to scroll up, and hopefully you can see what I'm saying. I like there to be a good balance of my face, my kids, coffee, a nature picture like this palm tree. It's going to be a good balance. Like I'm not going to have too much coffee. Like you're not going to find 5 coffee pictures in a row. You're not going to find 5 selfies of me in a row. You won't find, 5 pictures of just Savannah. It's going to be a good balance, so it flows. And so sometimes what I'll do is if, like maybe I had a coffee picture right here, like see where it says boss. Well, maybe the next day, like I've archived several of my pictures, and so it's only it's still pretty recent. I might not do a coffee picture the next morning on Instagram. I might just do it on Facebook because it's not, like I might skip a day. For example, this picture was posted 5 days ago. This one was posted today. So I made a gap in between those coffee pictures. So yeah, just kind of getting strategic on like what you post. I literally will look at my Instagram before I go make a post, and I'll see what I need. So for example, like last night when I made this picture of me and Adeline, That's an old picture that I took about a week ago. It wasn't taken live last night, but I had this recent picture of my kids. I had a picture, right, 2 pictures before of my kids, and then I had me and Zach in the middle. I knew it was about time that there was another picture of me. And so I just looked through my camera roll and I was like, what do I have? And then I found this picture. I wrote a really good post about being a mom, and it was my business post for the night. It fit really well with that picture, and it fit with what I needed for my Instagram. And so this might sound really overwhelming if you're new on Instagram, but I promise you these are things that start becoming second nature. Just get in the habit of, when you look at your Instagram, that's kind of what you do. You look to see, okay, what kind of picture do I need next? If you just did a coffee picture, you need a picture of a person next, whether it's a child, whether it's a selfie. If you just did a selfie, you need a picture of something else. Maybe it's your kids. Maybe it's, like I have this palm tree right here. Just get creative. It can be anything, but just have that good balance is key. Okay, now I want to show you guys what I archive on Instagram. There are things I post on Instagram that aren't picture perfect, that aren't pretty, and I get business from them, but then I archive them. So I'm going to show you guys this. So I do these work from phone position field posts every time I sign a distributor. I do it on Facebook, I do it on Instagram. They don't get near the interaction that my other post did. You saw the post I just put up, said like 200 and something likes. You'll notice this just says 19. But it never fails. When I do this, I usually get a text that says opportunity. So I always do it, even if it doesn't get a lot of interaction, because it's very fruitful. Every time I sign a distributor, I put this post up. So I encourage you, even if you're new, make something cute like this. You can use the app WordSwag. It looks like this. Hold on. That's WordSwag right there. Or you can use the app Over. See the O right there? The one that I made right here, I made an Over. But the old one that I used before this, I made in WordSwag. So you can use either app, but these are great things to do. Okay, sorry, I don't know where the wording went on that one. But these are great things to do every time you sign a distributor. They just remind people that people are joining your team. And so it's kind of a ripple effect. I sign a distributor, I make this post, I get someone else that reaches out about the business. So it's super fruitful. I leave these on Instagram for just 24 hours or less, and then I archive them. And you'll notice they all pretty much say the same thing. I'm so excited for whoever just joined my team. She just claimed a work from home position with me, will now be bringing in an income all off her smartphone. I can't wait to see her I can't wait to show her how I've used my smartphone to retire my husband and create the life of my dreams. If you're new, you can just say, I can't wait to show her how I use my smartphone to bring in an income for my family. I know 2019 is going to yield so many blessings for her, and I'm so excited. So see, you don't have to have any crazy success story for this to work for you. And what I do is I count down right here with how many spots, like how many people I intended to sign at the beginning of the month. So the beginning of this month, I intended to sign 15 people. So I've signed 9 so far. And so I just keep counting down. So I'm at like 6 spots left now. And I just keep counting down until I get down to 0. So, and then if I get to 0 and there's still a week left of the month, I'll just put I'm opening up 3 new spots or 5 new spots or whatever. I always put message me or text opportunity to, and I put my phone number. You guys, I said this in the signing distributor Zoom. I'm just going to say it again. 90% of the distributors I sign text me the word opportunity. And I just wanted to show you guys, just to make a point. If I type in opportunity in my iPhone, do you guys see this? This is literally just the past, like this is just in May, just my text messages. And you can see it goes into April. And that's just the word opportunity. Sometimes I put the word ready or the word change or whatever, and I get text with those too. And some people message it in my DM. Some people message me on Facebook the word opportunity. That's just the text. It is so fruitful. Don't neglect doing this step. I'm telling you, it's huge. If someone comments on the post and says, what do you do? I'll always just say messaging you. And you can watch my signing distributor Zoom that I just did like a week ago, and you can find out more of like how I carry that conversation on. The other thing that I archive is I put up before and afters on Instagram. I only leave these up less than 24 hours. They never, ever stay up longer than 24 hours on Instagram. On Facebook, maybe a little bit longer, maybe like up to 72 hours. But on Instagram, 24 hours or less. Usually I'm archiving it about 17 hours later-ish, and I'll explain why in a second. Every time I do a before and after, I'm just gonna make sure it's super concise and to the point. I'm gonna make sure it's a very clear picture, whether it's a picture like this or whether it's more of like a, shows more of their body. I'm going to make sure that it's very, the wording is just very catchy, draws them in. I'm always going to give them a call to action. So see right here, I just got my hands on 40% off codes for this fire combo. If you're ready to get your hands on some, drop a coffee below and I'll send you the scoop. So you can see people are dropping coffees. And then I say, I'll message you. So I leave it up just long enough to get attention and then I archive it. If I ever do a picture that I do realize just didn't really flow with my Instagram, maybe it was good to do because people read the post, I'll end up archiving it. Like I did this picture at the salon and I wasn't really loving it later, so I archived it. What I love about archiving posts is you can still see them and you can still see who liked them and commented on them and stuff like that. They're just no longer on your Instagram. If anyone has any questions as we go, please make sure you ask in the chat. And I'm going to see if I can pull the chat up side by side too. There we go, chat. Okay. Glenna said, what if you get text you don't want? I've never gotten a text that I don't want. Everyone always asks that question. I've literally never once gotten a text that I didn't want. So don't live your life in fear and don't miss out on the blessing that can come because you're worried about what if. Everyone always asks that. And I've had people that have literally said, I'm not going to put my phone number, I'm scared. And I'm like, well, that's fine. You're going to miss out on business because I literally get more texts than I can keep up with usually. And I've never once gotten a prank text, never once gotten a prank call, never once gotten a prank text. So people are busy. They don't have time to prank you. How you archive a post. Leah said, can you show how to archive? All you do is you just click on it and then you click up at the top and then you click archive. So you click those three little dots and then you click archive. And then now how you access the archives is by clicking that little wheel at the top left. And then you can also see your archive stories here as well. So that's archive posts, archive stories. So your stories automatically go to your archives 24 hours later. They will stay in your story for 24 hours later, and then they will be right here. So this is awesome because if you do a poll or something, you can always come back and look at it. So for example, I did this one and I had a poll, so I can always still click and see who voted on the poll. You guys see that? So if you ever miss looking at the live votes on the poll, you can come back and look at it. Okay. So as we keep going, you guys, if you guys have questions, let me know. Okay, so the main things to make sure with your pictures, we're gonna kind of go back to pictures. I talked a little bit about keeping in balance and just keeping things just looking very attractive. But I just wanna say a key thing is making sure all your pictures are taken in good lighting. So whenever I take a selfie, it's almost always gonna be outside or I'm gonna be standing in front of a window. I will never, ever, ever take a selfie in my house at night. Because it would mess up the whole flow of my Instagram. It would no longer be bright and pretty, it would be darker. Even with editing, it messes up the flow. So always just make sure you're utilizing opportunities to take pictures outside. Like this kind of post, for example, like this one right here. This was a picture I posted at night before bed, but it was something Zach had taken of me during the day, so anytime, like I love Sundays, that's like a great day for us to take pictures because the kids look cute, I look good for church, Zach's dressed up, and so it's the day that I usually will get a lot of pictures. For example, like this was on a Sunday, this was on a Sunday, this was on a Sunday. Like any picture I look really good, it probably was on a Sunday. And so I just get Zach to take a ton. And then even if I change clothes and I'm going on a walk or something, I'll get him to take more of me in the changed outfits. That way I just have more for another day. Anything exciting we do, I'll use those pictures for later. I'll always look for good opportunities to do posts that I don't normally do. So for example, like Leah Martin, she's on the Zoom right now. She sent Adeline these cute little onesies. This was like a great post that wasn't like my normal post, just like to take a cute picture of this laid out. Kind of same thing with this. I bought this for Adeline's 1-year birthday. That was a cute post. So anytime you have an opportunity that you can do something that's not your normal post, definitely do it. Even this, you guys, like I debated on doing this post because I never want to sound like I'm bragging or anything like that. But my housekeeper left that day and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a really wide open picture of the house. And Zach pointed out, he was like, people are nosy. They want to know what your house looks like. So this was the post that got a lot of attention. And someone actually reached out to me about the business about it. So while a lot of you may not I didn't have a housekeeper until like 6 months ago. So I understand this isn't like relevant to everybody at this particular season of the business, but I'm saying this to say, like, look for those opportunities. Like maybe you just organized your house and you said, you took a picture of your house, just, showing how clean it was, and made a post about just, resetting and just getting things back in order, so you can focus or whatever. Like I'm kind of rambling, but just get creative is my point, because any post you do that you're just being real and you're showing people into your life is going to be fruitful. This post, I tied in how I had always wanted a housekeeper, and how much of a blessing it was, like having one basically, and how it freed my time up to do more with my kids and stuff. So anything like that you can do is good. Trying to think of another example. Anytime you can make a post about working off your smartphone, like I think this was something like that. Maybe not this one, I don't know. There's one somewhere really soon in this batch where I had a picture of my kids and I just said, like, working off my smartphone and watching my babies play. I'm so thankful that I can be mama and business owner at the same time. So you can get really simple with your posts. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. The main thing is just that they're clear, they're bright, and then you want to make sure the caption is where you share what you're really wanting to share. So what you don't want to do is make your posts all black, green, and bling. You don't want anything black, green, and bling, nothing that's like spammy looking. Let me see if I can find an example of something not to do. I'll just go to the corporate page because there's a lot of stock photos, and so it works for a corporate page, but not for our personal pages. So this would be a good example. Let me go to the old one, hold on. Okay, so for example, like you would not want this to be your whole Instagram, because it tells your followers nothing about you. All it is products, and it doesn't even really, like, it's not even really drawing them in about the products. It's just a bunch of pictures of products. Like, people don't just want to look at a bottle of cleanse. Like, they're way more likely to be drawn in if it's a picture of you with the cleanse. And then they're going to read what you have to say about it. But when anything looks like an ad, people just scroll right past it. And so you want to make sure, the goal is just to make sure that it doesn't look like an ad. It just looks like your normal life. And then the people that follow you and have started to get attached to following your life, they're going to read what you have to say. So for example, like, you can put a really pretty picture of your coffee and then your kids playing in the background, and you can talk about your fat burning coffee and why you love it so much. You can, again, put a selfie of you or pictures of your kids and talk about the business, but just make sure it doesn't look like an ad. Okay. We have a Zoom on photo editing, so I'm not going to go heavily into this, but I do just want to say the apps that I use to edit my photos is Lightroom. And I basically just have a preset that I use, and I'll show you guys kind of what it looks like. So if I click on a picture, so like this is the picture of Adeline from this morning. I want to show you guys what the before looked like. Well, if I can. Sorry guys, I'm trying to hold on to it and it's not working. Hold on. Oh, I know what I just did. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. Okay, that's what it looked like before. See, that's before. And that's after. See the difference it makes? Like, the preset takes a good picture that was still bright. I mean, light was shining in my house. Like, the room, like the layout was good, had a good flow of colors and stuff, but the preset takes it and just makes it pop. Like, it's just going to make it get so much more attention. So the presets I use are Alexa Jeans presets. They're on Instagram, but you can just Google Lightroom presets and you could find so many. You could find free ones. You can find some for like $4 or $5. I bought one of Alexa Jeans bundles and I like it because there's different ones that work for different settings. But the main thing is just find one that you like and use that same preset all the time. I'm gonna give you guys another example. So like a preset won't take a picture that wasn't already like a decent picture and make it look amazing. It takes pictures that are good and it makes them great. So you still wanna make sure the original photo is in good lighting. It's, there's not a lot of stuff taking away attention and stuff like that. Let me give you guys another example. So here's one of Adeline sleeping. This was the before, and this was after the preset. See, the preset just makes it pop so much more. It makes the sheets look so much whiter. She looks tanner and brighter. I'll show you guys one more example of like what it does with the selfie. So before, after. It just is a lot more forgiving with like skin imperfections. Like the preset just makes, because it's brightening you so much, it just makes everything look just a lot better. And then lastly, I'm going to show you guys just what it looks like for like a food picture. Here's one like a Mexican restaurant. See, that's before, that's after. See, just makes the picture pop. You guys get it. So that's the main thing, is just having a preset. I use Lightroom. Once you have a preset, it's so simple because you just put your preset on it. Like I don't do any other editing. Like I'm not adjusting lighting or adjusting colors. I'm literally just clicking the preset and then it's done. Okay, so next thing, I'm gonna kind of go into how to grow your Instagram and then how to keep your following number down as well too. I don't see any questions in the chat, but if you guys have questions, just ask them as we're going. Okay, so how I like to grow my Instagram is like go past a picture in your Instagram feed that is not someone who is a distributor and click on the likers of the post. So this person right here is not a distributor. You could click on those 91 likes and you could literally just follow all the blue. I usually only follow women. I don't follow men. If a guy requests to follow me and he looks normal, I will let him follow me, but I don't intentionally follow men. So that's how I follow. I recommend doing 200 in the morning, 200 in the evening if you really want to grow it fast. When I started, you guys, I only had 230 followers on Instagram. And if I'm being honest, there has been seasons in my business I haven't followed as faithfully. If I would have never once missed a day, I probably would have like 20,000 followers right now. So you can get that number up quick in a really short amount of time if you just are very diligent with it. And then how I unfollow people is I'll just go to who I'm following. Like, and this is once you've already caught up. Like this isn't something that's super relevant right now if you're just growing and just starting off. But let's say you already have like 7,000 followers on Instagram and you're following 5,000, and you kind of want to get that 5,000 number down a little bit, because the bigger gap between the two, the more appealing it is on your Instagram. I'll just go all the way down to the bottom. And I'll just get to a point, like I've already been doing this, so there's like a point somewhere in here that I've already gotten to. And I'll just like do like 20 at a time, and I'll just like click, unfollow, unfollow. And this is how I unfollow. It's not much to it. I won't unfollow someone that has like thousands and thousands of followers, because there's a good chance if you do unfollow them, they're just gonna unfollow you right back. So I usually am very strategic, like who I'm unfollowing. But and if I come across someone that has a beautiful Instagram, I probably won't unfollow them, because that's something I want to see in my feed and just use for inspiration. I'm trying to think of an example. There's someone on here I've seen every time I come to look. No, I don't know where it is. There's one person's post in particular though that I always come across them, and their Instagram just looks so pretty, so I don't ever unfollow them, because their pictures are just super bright, kind of like this, just very bright, pretty pictures. So if I come across something very bright like that, I'm not going to unfollow, because I want to keep seeing that. So just once you get to that point where you're trying to get your following number down, you can just literally just do a little bit at a time. You don't want to do too many. If I tried to go and unfollow 500 people at one time, Instagram would flag me and probably put my account, like they would make it to where I couldn't unfollow or follow anyone for a couple of days. So you don't want to do too many at one time. You want to pace yourself. So when I'm unfollowing like that, it's going to be a really small number. When I'm following, again, 200 in the morning, 200 in the evening, a portion of people will follow you back. So I just accepted some requests before I hopped on this this Zoom. So I have a few more requests sitting here pending. What I do is I accept my requests all throughout the day, and I accept them first thing in the morning. If I make a before and after, like let's say right after this Zoom, I make a before and after, I'm not going to accept any more requests until tomorrow morning, because I'm going to wait till tomorrow morning and I archive that before and after, and then I'll accept all my requests. That way, the first thing those people see is not before and afters. I don't want the first thing them to see is It Works post. I want them to see just this, just my life. And so if I have a before and after, and that's my very latest photo, I'm going to wait and accept them in the morning. Does that make sense to everybody? That's one of the big things that I think that makes a big difference in how many followers you retain. Because it's okay if they see a before and after on their feed. They've already been following you. They already have gotten to know you, and now they're seeing a post about, you know, before and after of coffee and greens, and they're interested. But you don't want that to be the very first thing that they see. So that's the main thing, is just making sure you're following very religiously. One thing I wanted to say is that you could have the most beautiful Instagram in the world. You could have the prettiest bio, the prettiest profile picture, the prettiest pictures, the best highlights, the best stories, and you could post 80 things to your story every day. But if you are not growing, it's all in vain, because you have to have people that are seeing your stuff every single day. And if you're only, if there's only like the same block of people seeing your stuff every single day, then that's not good. That's very counterproductive. So you want this followers number to just consistently be going up, so you always have more and more people seeing your stuff. Also, just remember, you get what you post for. And so if you're doing a ton of lifestyle posts and you're not ever talking about the business, that's great and all. People might follow you and people might love your stuff, but they don't know what you have to offer. And so, you know, your followers can go up really fast, but again, it's kind of also in vain because they don't know what you have to offer them. So you're going to notice, if you look at my Instagram, almost every single post says something about the business. I talk about the business every chance I get. This post was probably one of the vaguest posts I've done in the past few days, but I still talked about, you know, I still showed my life, showed my backyard. I said, I'm certain we live in the greatest land for opportunity, for freedom, and to live life ever so abundantly. We're so thankful for all who've served, blah, blah, blah. May we never forget, and may we never take for granted the sacrifice that's been laid down. So this is like, if I am going to do a lifestyle post, it's going to be something like this, where it at least gets people thinking, because I want to make sure that when people see my post, they're thinking about more, they're dreaming for more. But most of my posts, for example, like this one, this is a business post, talks about how I've always wanted to be a mom, talks about working on my smartphone, what the business has done for me, call to action at the end. This post, very similar, talks about how my kids always used to ask me to do fun things, we never could do it, call to action at the end. This post was about waiting longer than I expected for a dinner reservation, and it was no big deal, I just worked off my smartphone. Call to action at the end. See, are you seeing a trend here? Like, this is how you get a lot of people reaching out to you about the business, is you talk about the business nonstop. Even this, like, it didn't say something direct about the business, but it talked about like getting to do something fun with my kids, which that's something that a lot of people, that resonates with them, because they're not able to do something like that. And so they're gonna start wondering, like, what is she doing? How is she able to do these things? This is a really short post. This is an example how you can squeeze in working off your smartphone, even if you're being short. Poolside with my sweet Silas. I'm just also thankful for the reality of getting to wake up wherever we want and seize the day. I used to live for the weekends, but now, thanks to working off my smartphone, every day is full of adventure and fresh opportunities. Life can change in an instant, just as soon as we're ready for it. Message me or text opportunity to work off your smartphone with me. So you see, even if you're in a hurry, and I mean, I was literally sitting poolside, you guys, I couldn't really sit there to write a long post, but I just threw a quick one up real quick, and I dropped working off my smartphone, because I knew a lot of people were going to see that post, and it was a bright, you know, clear picture of me and Silas. I wanted to make sure that, again, it wasn't in vain. So you're never really going to see me just do plain lifestyle posts, because I think that that's also, I think the two biggest mistakes I see people make with Instagram is they have really good stuff, but they're not growing their following. So they are telling their story every single night, but they have 100 followers. And that's just kind of counterproductive, because you need a lot more than 100 followers to see your stuff. Or they are growing their following steadily, but they're never talking about the business. And so yes, there's a lot of followers, but they don't even know what you do. I'm just gonna give a couple more examples. This is another example of a short one. I made this as we were walking into Disney. So again, it was super busy, it was Disney, wasn't a lot of time, but I still said, it's the most magical place on earth. Mermaids excited to be here, blah, blah, blah. I'm so thankful that because of It Works and working off my smartphone, we're able to do fun things we never used to be able to do. And you'll notice when I said It Works, I just put IW. So I'm always pretty vague. I want people to have to ask me what I'm doing. Like, I don't want them to just know right off the bat. I want them to come to me, because if they come to me, I know I can seal the deal. But if I give them all the information up front in my post, then there's less for them to come to me about. This was just a post about our team and just what a blessing it is working off my smartphone with such incredible people. Most of these posts are pretty long. Here's another short one. This is kind of what I'm wanting to show you guys, is the shorter ones, because I think a lot of times we can get writer's block and we don't know what to say. One of the biggest perks from working from home off my smartphone is that I get to be mama simultaneously while I work and drink my fat-burning coffee. These are the moments I'm so thankful I get to be present in and soak up while still earning a lucrative income that provides for my family in ways I never imagined. So see, just like, I hope you're taking all this as just like inspiration for posts that you can do, because it can be the most simple thing, but if you're just dropping in there, just dripping, and just letting people know you're working off your smartphone, it's gonna go so far. But you've got to tell them what you're doing, any chance you can. Even sunset pictures, you guys. If I like have no recent pictures of me, my kids are in bed already or something, or in the bath or whatever, and I just don't have a good picture of us, I'll just go outside and take a picture of the sunset. That's a great way to write a business post, and it kind of mixes it up. So get creative. Like maybe it's just going outside and taking a picture. Maybe it's taking a picture of, I don't know, food or something. You can totally get creative. It doesn't always have to be a selfie. Even just pictures like this. This is different than what I normally would do. It just kind of showed my kids being goofy. This just said, thankful to be a mom in 2019, have my hands on an opportunity of a lifetime, blah, blah, blah. So see, you can come at it from 1,000 different angles on 1,000 different days. The main thing is just that you're attempting every day to put it out there, and really more times than not, like more than once a day is the best thing to do, not just once a day. Okay, before we keep going, does anybody have any questions? I feel like I've thrown a lot of info at you, but I want to make sure everybody really understands before we keep going. The next thing I'm going to talk about is stories. So if I don't see any questions, I'm just going to keep going, but please ask questions if you have them. Okay, so stories are huge. What I love about stories is they're more forgiving than your regular posts are. So you can put things in your story that you wouldn't necessarily make a post about. So I'm just the easiest way to show you guys this is just go back to the archive. So what I do is I put every post that I do make, I put those in my stories, because some people watch stories, but they don't scroll their feed. So they may not see your post, but they'll see it in your story. And then I'll also put just inspirational quotes. And again, I just want to make sure everything's consistent with my brand. So I'm really big about not being negative, about being positive, about not being around negative people, about being around people who clap when you win, who cheer you on. So you're going to see a lot of quotes in my story like this. If your circle of people you have around you don't inspire you, you don't have a circle, you have a cage. Like I want to put things that make people think. I want them to see that and be like, I didn't think about it like that. When you know where your calling comes from, you can be confident in how your battle will turn out. And I just pretty much, oops, sorry guys, I didn't mean to get off that. I just pretty much save any inspirational quote I see. If I see something that I'm like, oh, that would be great in my story. Maybe I see 5 in one day. I'll save them all, and then boom, I've got one for the next 5 days. So this was like me and Savannah out shopping. I think I only made a post about one. Maybe I did make a post about all. I don't remember, but I put them all in my story. This post of me and Adeline right here, I only made a post about this one. She's one of the many things I never knew I needed. The other one was one of my outtakes. I didn't post it, but I put it in my story. Zach's food, I always put in my story. I always like to put candid stuff or things behind the scenes. So for example, this picture right here, a lot of people replied to in my story. They thought it was super cute. And it just kind of showed people into my life that they wouldn't normally see. So my post was Savannah and her cake. That was the post I did on my actual wall. But in the story, I did a lot of them. Like I did the one of Zach taking her. People thought that was, really funny. And it just, again, showed them an angle they don't normally see. Okay, Leah said, you do quotes in your stories, but sometimes you post it. When, how often will you post an inspirational quote in addition to your story? So what I do is like on Facebook, I do an inspirational post on my wall. And I just do it with a colored background, because anytime you use Facebook's features, they reward you for it. What that means is it's going to be shown, like it's going to be seen in that, with the algorithm, it's going to be seen more than something else would. So for example, let me go back a little bit. Don't settle for the friends who can say the right things to please your flesh, but can't speak to your spirit. This is just a quote that I saw, and I typed it out on a colored background. So this didn't go in my story at all. It just went on my wall. And as you can see, people ate that up. It got shared a lot. I had another one, I think a couple days before, that was, Noah looked like an idiot until it started to rain. And then everyone thought he was genius, keep building despite what others around you think or say. And then there was another one about bullying a couple days before. I don't know where it went. maybe it's further back than I thought, but that was a good one too. I was trying to find it. Yeah, this I was listening to an audiobook. Actually, the book I went live about in the team page a couple of times called Can't Hurt Me. It's written by Navy SEAL. He said, people who are secure with themselves don't bully other people. If ever I hear just like a good one-liner, I'll put it on my Facebook like this, but it doesn't necessarily go in my story unless I see it kind of written out, like this one. Like this, I actually saw this, and then I just saved it. Does that make sense, Leah? So just kind of case-by-case basis, I guess you could say. Food. Okay, these are great ways to do polls. Like if you're taking a progress picture of yourself, don't hesitate to do a poll at the end. So like I took this picture after I wrapped. I took the wrap off, took a picture. After 5 babies, I'm obsessed with how much our body contouring skinny wraps have helped me. And then I put up a poll, and then I messaged all the voters of the poll. So maybe you just do a progress picture and you're like, I'm so amazed at how far I've come in 3 months on our fat burning coffee and greens. I'm down 15 pounds. And then the next, you do the exact same picture twice, and the second one comes up a poll. That's really huge. Obviously, good fillers in your story, like Starbucks. This was my kids at the park. So anything like that is good for your story. This was just like a video right here of them swinging. I wouldn't post that on my wall, but I mean, that was a good one for my story. Just anything at all you can put in your story is a good thing. Just give people as much of a glimpse into your life as you possibly can. That's what they want from stories. Think of it like this. Your Instagram, like the cover of your Instagram is like the cover of your book. And then this is inside the pages. So you want the cover to be really, really good and enticing because you want them to buy the book. But then your story is going to be what the pages contain. So for example, like this was us going to the airport before I went to Dallas. Just anything that shows them what I'm doing, I'm going to put in my story. Hopefully that makes sense. If anybody has any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll answer them. Even kind of silly stuff. Like I was on a walk and I saw my neighbor has a pineapple growing in their yard. And I was like, oh, this would be a cute, different thing to put in my story. And then I always love taking pictures of palm trees because I'm obsessed with palm trees. If you live somewhere, like when we lived in Alabama, they had those big oak trees that had the like, what's it called? They're like willow trees, but they have, moss. It has moss hanging from them. I used to take pictures of those in Alabama a lot because people literally go buy moss for Pinterest projects, and I had it like all through my neighborhood. So anything like that you have around you that's pretty, don't hesitate to take pictures. Like I said, sunsets are huge. Okay, here's a good one about cleanse. So this I thought was just something that was so simple, but it got a lot of attention about cleanse. I love how easy it is for me to do my 2-day gentle cleanse with my busy on-the-go lifestyle. Who wants to cleanse with me? And so things like that are great ways to incorporate products. And then of course, before and afters are huge. 3 months of fat burning coffee and chocolate greens, 5 openings for 40% off. And then the poll pops up. So just anything like that you can do. Sorry guys, I'm just seeing if there's anything else. This was just me making my coffee. I put that on my story one day. That was an idea I got from someone else in the business, and I mean, it went really well. I had a lot of people replying. And I actually went ahead and put that on IGTV too. So that's kind of going to be the next thing that I wanted to tell you about. IGTV is just basically like, it's not live video for Instagram. They stay up. Your live videos on Instagram go away the second you're not live anymore. But these, they are shown on your newsfeed or on people's feeds, and then they stay as a highlight. So you want to make sure you're not just putting anything there, but if you have something you really want to share, this is a good place to do it. I did lash extension care, and that was, a hit. I had so many people responding to that and commenting on it. And then let's make a skinny mocha together. That was me making my coffee, and that got me a customer, got a lot of interest. So just get creative with your IGTV, but you'll notice I don't have a ton, which is, I should do more. I'm not saying I don't have a ton because it's good to not have a ton. I'm saying you want to make sure you're not just putting anything because you want them to come back and watch your future stuff. So I would say IGTV is kind of like quality over quantity, if that makes sense. Whenever you do an IGTV video, make sure you already have a picture saved for the cover photo, because whenever it uploads, it will ask you if you want to put a cover photo or if you want to just have it pick a random clip. And so if you don't have a cover photo ready in your camera roll, you're just gonna have to do a random clip. Oops, sorry guys. Okay, So that's the main things that I wanted to share with you guys. Just kind of going over a few things while I wait and see if anyone has questions before we go. Make sure you're growing steadily. Growing minimum 200 people a day. If you are only following 10 people a day, you're not growing. That's not growth, because only a portion of people are actually going to follow you back. And so if you're expecting to grow your Instagram and it to be an asset in your business, you have to raise the number. So make sure you're following 200 people minimum a day. If you want to do more, that's only going to help you more. So I recommend, if you're really wanting to scale it, do 200 in the morning, 200 at night. Make sure you unfollow anyone that didn't follow you back. And then over time, as this number, the who's following you, as that number really grows, get the other number down. But don't worry about that right now. If you have 200 followers right now, you don't need to worry about that. But as this number gets up in the thousands, start making sure this number kind of goes back down, and just make sure you're following people that it's good for you to be following. I follow a couple of people who inspire me. And then, like some of our team, people who, like people who are maybe potentials, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So just make sure you're strategic with that. And always make sure you're unfollowing who didn't follow you back, unless I said like it's someone that inspired you or something. And then the other thing is just making sure your pictures are super bright, making sure they're edited well, making sure there's a consistent brand, a consistent theme, no black, green, or bling, nothing that says it works in your bio, a good profile picture of you. Make sure your name is something easy to remember. If someone sees your posts and you've caught their attention, and then one night they're laying in bed and they can't stop thinking about you, you want them to remember who you are. So if your name is like XYZTKL, and they can't even remember what it was, it's going to be hard to find you. So make sure it's something that's easy, whether it's your name or something that's like cute and just catchy. Just make sure it's something that is simple to remember. Facebook link in your bio, that's the other thing. Just kind of going over everything here. Archive your before and afters. Don't accept requests until you've archived your before and afters. And then, about your requests. I have my Instagram private. I'm glad I thought of this before we hopped off. You don't have to have your Instagram private. I have my Instagram private for right now, and I've had it private this whole time just because I do get more followers. There's been a couple of times that I've switched to public, and I don't feel like I get near as many follow backs. I probably will switch to public eventually, but right now I am private. I think when you're growing, it's really, really good to be private. And then once you have, really hit a good stage of your growth, you could switch to public at that point. My Facebook is public. Facebook is so good to be public, you guys. I have signed several distributors the past couple months that we were not friends. They saw my post because of a friend. Like a friend liked a post and then it came up on their newsfeed. So I think Facebook, hands down, you should be public. But private on Instagram works really well for me. And then again, just accepting the request when your feed is clean. So if you have a before and after, wait to accept the request. And then just make sure you're putting as much in your stories as you possibly can is the last thing, just kind of recapping. If you are new to stories, don't let it overwhelm you. Stories kind of overwhelmed me at first because I felt like I was in a really good groove with post, and I just felt like if stories felt so foreign to me. But now that I'm in the habit of it, I mean, it's like anything else that you make a habit. It can take you a few weeks to get in the habit, but once you're in a habit, it's good. So just if you haven't really ventured off and haven't been doing stories consistently, I just encourage you to rip the Band-Aid off and just start, because you'll never get better and you'll never get more comfortable if you don't just begin. And so don't overcomplicate it. Just throw up everything you're putting on your posts, in your stories, and then anything extra you take behind the scenes. Get really creative. Show people into your life. Just be real. Just be you. Stories are so forgiving. And then, just recapping, the very last thing is just remember, everything I just taught you is in vain if you're not growing. So if you are not growing your following every single day, you can have the prettiest Instagram on the block, but you're not going to see the fruit from it. And again, I just feel like I need to say this one more time. I'm not trying to sound like I'm beating a dead horse or sound like a broken record, but I would not be an ambassador, you guys, if it wasn't for Instagram. Like, hands down, 100%, it wouldn't have happened. So I just encourage you, if like you've been listening to this and there's several things that have convicted you, like maybe you haven't been growing your following, maybe you haven't been consistent with a lot of things, or your Instagram is spammy and you feel like you need to clean it up, whatever it is, just start today and just fix it. Because I'm telling you, if you treat Instagram the way that you should, and you run with Instagram the rest of this year, you will be absolutely blown away the enhancements you see in your business because of it. But you got to just choose to start, And so, yeah, that's my best advice. I don't want to keep rambling. I know it's Memorial Day. I want to let you guys go, and I appreciate everyone that was able to hop on so last minute. I hope this was so helpful. I don't see any more questions, so we're going to hop off. I just want to remind everybody, we do have our team huddle tonight, so make sure to hop on that. Let me stop the recording. Hold on one second.